Hey, welcome back. Glad you could stop by and chat with me for a second. Uh, Today I'm feeling a little lost, to be honest with you. Right off the bat, just gonna light up and get right into it. Find my daughter at random times today, on my heart quite a bit, and I miss her, and I pray someday that I get to have a chance, uh, to have a conversation with her to possibly reconnect. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds very scary to me. I I haven't talked to her since her 16th birthday, so we're talking almost 11, 12 years ago now, and 11 years ago, just about. And it's hard. Uh, and I think what really brought this on today, these feelings, was I heard this line on TV that hit so deep. This person said to another person on the show I was watching that they didn't want to lose their friendship. And another person looked back at him and was like, instead of being like, fuck you, or I don't want, fighting it. They just said, "Hey, you know what? Go find yourself." Um, because I can't be friends with a ghost. And I don't know why that hit me so hard. And it made me wonder, am I a ghost to the people in my life? Is this why I can't connect with people? Um, have I been the ghost in my daughter's life? Am I wasting my time hoping to have a relationship with my kid after all these years? I hope not. I know a lot of people have told me in the past that I'm trying too hard. I need to give up. And honestly, I just don't think those people understand because they don't have, they have relationships with their kids. And I wonder when they tell me that what their opinions would be if they didn't have relationships with their kids. And I was talking to some people about this today. Um, and I know this conversation may never come, but obviously I'm hoping that it does. And I was thinking how I don't want to haunt anybody, especially my daughter. I just want one day a moment to say what I have to say, not just to her, but to anybody I'm having issues with. Um, it's tough missing someone who may not be missing you back. Like I don't, I think she does miss me because my father wasn't involved. Obviously, the circumstances are significantly different, but I think about how I miss, you know, knowing my dad and knowing my family on the other side and how I think that affected me and shaped me and not having, you know, legitimate father in my life. Like my grandfather was there and I had guys around the neighborhood that would hook me up, but I didn't have that. And obviously neither did my daughter. Now I will argue that for the most part that's because I was pushed out, but here's the deal. I fucked up. I own a lot of things. I made a lot of mistakes. I did not prioritize her like I should have when I was younger. I was, fear of missing out, and I just made poor decisions. Any opportunity I was given not to partake, I would take that opportunity, to not parent and to just do my thing because I always thought, you know what, you'll always have an opportunity to like make this up to her. She's not missing anything. And now, as I've watched my friends raise their kids and I've been like this fun uncle, I'm realizing I missed all the good shit. All the shit that matters, I missed because, yes, I was pushed out, but also very much a lot of my own anger. And I was having this conversation today, and someone asked me, what would you want her to understand about your pain, your growth, your regrets, your heart? If this was the only thing she ever listened to, what would you want her, you know, to understand? And my first thought is that I want her to see me and see that I'm broken and I'm trying to figure this shit out. I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect. Honestly, I'm done blaming people for why I haven't been in her life. Also, I don't think it's fair for me to hope she understands anything, to be completely honest. At the end of the day, she was the biggest loser in all of this. Yes, I lost my first wife. Yes, I lost my family. and they lost, and my ex-wife lost a husband and a partner because neither of us, I don't believe, took the marriage seriously as we should have. But my daughter lost her dad. Yeah, she had a stepdad. Yeah, she had, grandparents that were awesome, but she's in a very similar I understand her situation. She doesn't know this side of her family that well. She doesn't know my mom like I wish she did. She doesn't know half of herself. I know where she's coming from, and I'm wondering if she's anything like her dad, if she's holding that resentment and she's resenting me and she might never reach out for that fact. Because I know that I struggle reaching out to my dad or being around my dad because is a lot of resentment there. Yes, I've forgiven him. Yes, I've moved on, but that pain still is like an anchor in my soul, stopping me from picking up the phone to call, stopping me from checking on him as much as I should. And I wonder if she's dealing with a lot of those things. I mean, she has half my DNA. You would imagine that she's picked up some of my traits, right? And honestly, no matter the reason I wasn't involved, she still grew up in a broken home, and her mom struggled, like not like I ever wanted her to, but she did, and I tried to help. And yes, I paid support, but I also sometimes did the absolute minimum along the way, and that's fucked up. And that's not what you should do as a man. That's not what you should do as a parent. Fuck it as a man. That's just not what you should do as a parent. I should have prioritized her better. Um, and so I would just want to sit down and let her know that she's loved, that every day she crosses my mind, no matter what I'm going through, even with the pain of this divorce, she's still somebody I yearn to know that they're doing okay. And thankfully, I occasionally get updates from, people that I share circles with her mom, similar friends from high school. And so I'll get updates and pictures occasionally, but I just want to hear from her that she's okay. I'm okay if she doesn't want me in her life right now or ever, because that's 100% her decision. And I could have done better putting myself in a position to be there. And I could have pushed harder when I was getting pushed out instead of being like accepting it or being a pussy and just being, I was afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was terrified of being controversial or being somebody who pushed back because it might make people not like me. Like, I had the wrong priorities. A lot like I do today. Like, I worry so much about, like, I was talking to somebody about dating even, and I was talking about how I'm afraid to go up and talk to women because what if what I say is just completely something they can't agree with and I just ruin my chance right from the get go? And that's how, and now that I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking about Kaylee, like, I think that I did a lot of the same things, but even to a higher extent when I was younger. And what I hope is that now that I've been going through this growth path, that I hope that she would see that I have grown, but also she would see that I'm no longer that person who will just say whatever, people need to hear, or I won't give pushback out of fear of being rejected. Um, and she'll get my most authentic self. So uh, I'm hoping for an opportunity to have a chat. And so I constantly, if I get a new number for her, a new address, I'll send a letter, I'll send a text. I try not to be super pushy, but I think just the concept of it all can be seen pushy, right? But I would rather be pushy and have her say you tried too much, or you're a little bit overboard, which, let's be honest, that's Matt Pierce all day long. I would rather her feel that way than to be like, my dad never tried. Because I have tried. I have reached out. I have gone through the channels that I had access to, which basically being her mom and her great grandma. And unfortunately, every time it gets to her mom, I hit a roadblock because her mom hates me. Again, I earned a lot of that pain. But like, I wish her mom would understand that our daughter needs both her parents. She doesn't have to like us both. She doesn't even have to like really be in contact with us both, right? But I would hope that my ex-wife would understand that like she just needs to know that she could come to her mom and her dad. That she has us both here. Um yeah. I'm missing her a lot, and I'm trying to own that it's my fault for my absence. And I'm wishing but not expecting, you know. I've been carrying that for a long time, you guys. And but lately something new's been kind of creeping in, and it hit me out of nowhere the other day. Last night actually. I realized that I'm fucking not ready for what comes next. Not emotionally, not financially, and that shit scares the hell out of me. Nobody tells you that healing costs money, that growth takes time you can't afford. And now I'm scared. I'll be healthy enough to finally live, but too broke to enjoy it. And that sucks. And it's the reality of the situation. As I'm looking at my transition, I'm really trying to go to a living situation where I'm living as absolutely cheap as possible because I want to get out of debt. I want to pay the people I owe money to because I want to be a good, upstanding citizen. And I recognized the other night that I'm not financially prepared to retire in 20 years at all. Like, I have no money in the bank. I have no money in retirement. I have no partner anymore because I got disposed of. And so I'm on this journey all by myself, and I don't have, will my son take care of me in my time of need? I don't know, but also, will he be in a situation with the way the world is today where he can do that? I don't know that we live in a world anymore where kids can take care of their parents because I don't know how they take care of themselves. And so I was frozen in like stress and concern at work. I literally like couldn't think of anything else for like 10 hours because I was like, "Oh fuck." Cuz 20 years goes by in a fucking snap. And let's be honest, I don't probably have 20 years because my liver is not getting any better. It's constantly getting worse. We know it's going to go decomp. I have been so fortunate to have been compensated for as long as I have. The problem is, as I get healthier and I get physically more able and I get more excited about living this life, my body's shutting down still. My liver's still shutting down. My kidney function is getting worse to the fact that I was told that I may want to brace myself for the fact that I might not ever be transplant eligible because I might need a new kidney. And that was a hard fucking pill to swallow because essentially that would mean, my first thought was, anyways, essentially that would mean that I'm going to be terminal, that I am terminal. I have terminal liver disease. And for a couple hours, that really fucked with me. I'm not going to lie to you. I was really bothered by it. And then I had this other thought that we're all terminal. From the second we're born, we're terminal. We're going to die. I just happen to know what's going to take me and that I'm kind of on the fast track. And if I think I'm trying to embrace that concept and I'm trying to embrace that perspective because it is making it more acceptable and it's making it more where I can live in it. So now I'm trying to figure out how to rebuild my future, right? While I'm still working on taking care of the past, handling the things I need to handle with my mental health and shoring up my understanding of my past and how it made me who I am today and how I can move forward without letting that past weigh me down, without letting that past be the anchor that drowns me from moving forward, that drowns me from getting to where I want to be financially, that drowns me from, stability in old age and being able to take care of myself and not stressing that I got to work till I'm 80 if I am privileged enough to live that long. And truthfully, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do both. I don't. I can't currently carry that much weight. So, it's like an elephant, right? Got to take it bite by bite. Um, I want you to know that I'm trying, and maybe that's all I can do right now. Keep trying, keep working on bettering myself, keep working on clearing this debt out, looking for side ways to make money. I think if I can't find a single wide trailer, I really think I'm going to stay in my car, or buy a cheap camper and park it somewhere and really take a couple of years, focus on being active, getting healthy, spending a lot of time outside, reading, working a ton to pay off debt, but literally living as cheaply as I possibly can. While at the same time, you know, it's like a fork. That is kind of the main handle that I'm holding of the fork, right? But then I got these little prongs on the fork, like the 3 or 4 prongs your fork has, as my joint goes out here. Uh, and so with that, those springs are like, building a relationship with Kaylee, trying to move forward emotionally with love and finding new love, or reconnecting with the one I do love, and hoping she wants to reconnect with me. Uh, Maintaining and nourishing the relationship I built with my mom, that I've definitely probably closed off the last several months because, with the being dumped and being disposed of, it brought a lot of, the feelings of abandonment that I have from my dad, and my mom plays a little role in that. And so I don't have any issue with my mom. It's just, it's hard right now for me to engage with anybody. And it sucks because she's one of the persons who's nothing but supportive, constantly like checking in on me. And I was hoping she was actually going to come down last weekend, but then my hair went out, so I haven't seen her in a few weeks. And I don't want to lose like the growth we've had since I moved back to Ohio. Like, as much as I hate this place, as much as I constantly am saying that nothing good has ever happened to me here, I am so happy for the position I've gotten in the relationship with my mother. The fact that she was open to listening to me talk about the pain that, yes, she played a role in causing, that my father caused, that her husband, destroyed me on a regular basis. But she heard it, she took it. When I was in residential, she would just say, "Hey, put it all on me." Now this woman has sacrificed and done whatever she needed to do to make sure I had it when I was coming up. And yeah, we didn't have a lot, and sometimes we didn't have everything, but I always had enough. I ate, I had a place to sleep, even if it wasn't the greatest place, I had a roof over my head. And so I try to focus on that, but also it's amazing to me to think that she went through all that. And even today, her life, I would say, is hard. And, I feel somewhat of a failure as a son because I always wanted to, when I was growing up, I always said I want to take care of mom. I want to get to a place where I could take care of mom. And honestly, I thought I was there. And then I got disposed of, and that all kind of went away. But like, and that, I think that's another thing, is I'm very embarrassed. Not that I'm 100% sure she was coming here, but I at least gave myself I gave her, I gave the decision to her. And now I'm losing everything, and I'm embarrassed, and I feel like a failure as a son, as a man, as a father to my son and my daughter, as a husband. That's a lot, right? It really is a lot. But all we can do is keep trying to push forward. And that's what I'm going to do. I have gotten some amazing feedback about the podcast the last couple of days. I had somebody who produces podcasts basically tell me that this show, it's rough, but it has something special, because they say that I'm being raw and vulnerable, which is funny because being vulnerable is something that got me dumped, or lack of being vulnerable from what I remember. Uh, and it's been good for me. So, like, on the podcast side, things have been really good. And I'm working on improving it constantly. So, thank you for your patience and keep listening. You'll see changes coming. But these little short episodes have been really good for me. And I think I'm going to take that. And I think for our final hit tonight, I just want to say be kind to yourself. Acknowledge that none of us are perfect. We all fuck up. We all do shitty things. But I think at our core, we're all babies, right? And I think we're all good people. And we all want a good world to live in. And we all want to be loved. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. When someone does you wrong or comes across as an asshole, take a breath, recognize it. Like I said, we are all babies. We've all been babies. Like, sometimes we all have baby minds. So when someone freaks out and goes into baby mode, give them some grace. Understand that maybe their wife left them. Maybe they have a death in the family. Maybe their puppy's sick. Maybe they've got all kinds of shit that has nothing to do with you. And that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And I understand that feeling because it wasn't long ago before I got dumped that I was screaming at the neighbors across the street because they were pulling into my driveway a few feet because they don't know how to back up this big old truck. They're not good enough to back it up. And I was losing my mind, and it had nothing to do with them. No, I'll tell you, I didn't like that they couldn't back their truck up and they felt the need to come up in my driveway. But honestly, why do I give a fuck? It's a driveway. But I had so many other things like that. My family was failing financially, and I felt very responsible for that. I didn't give myself any grace. So I didn't give their little, my perceived indiscretions that they were throwing upon me. I didn't give that any grace. I just lost my fucking mind. And did that do me any good? No. It made them like have a negative image of me, and they were already moving out. So like they think I'm just this asshole that lives in Lima, Ohio. I imagine my neighbors saw it, and then I know that my wife saw it on the camera out front. And that caused some real problems, you know what I'm saying? Caused some real problems. So give grace, be positive. And you know what? Also, it's okay to be sad. Own all your feelings. That's the one thing I love about the time I live in is now I'm allowed to own my feelings. I'm allowed to say I feel fucked up today. I feel hurt today. And I think if we all do that, we're going to get to a place where the world is a little bit more sustainable, a little bit more easy to deal with. And guess what? All of us can still have our beliefs and we can still be on our opposite sides, but we can simply just disagree and find common ground if we start by going, I'm going to show everybody grace and I'm going to try to do what's good for everybody. And so I'm going to leave that last hit with you. Thank you for listening. Tune in next time. If you have anything you want to ask me, or if there's any questions you have, or any topics you want me to talk about, or any opinions you may want to hear about my mental health and my journey to health, hit me up at Mathew with one T .Pierce at iCloud.com. You can also hit me up on Facebook with Mathew Pierce or at Pierce and Mind Podcast on Facebook or anywhere else. And maybe we'll do a live call-in show in the future. A quick little, keep the podcast short, and let's have some real conversations, you guys. If you're into that, hit me up. Until then, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.